A Hollywood legal battle heads to a New York City courtroom today with the hearing on the lawsuit between actors Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. The U.S. District Judge in the case is holding a video conference on a motion for a protective order. Lively and Baldoni co-starred in the recent movie It Ends With Us, which he directed, she produced. In December, Lively filed a complaint accusing Baldoni of harassing her on set.
We have breaking news in the Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively court case. A judge has ruled on the protective order. This is a big deal.
Wait, Blake Lively's attorneys are coming after us content creators now? You cannot be serious. Also, did you guys hear that? Ah!
Blake Lively is losing it, throwing fits left and right after a judge's jaw-dropping decision. But let's be real, she walked straight into this disaster. Now, with public opinion flipping against her, even the judge couldn't find a redeeming angle in her favor. And that's because, spoiler alert, there wasn't one. For months, Lively had been playing the ultimate PR game, twisting the narrative to her advantage, making sure every headline painted her as the victim. She worked overtime to frame Baldoni as the villain, the troublemaker, the root of all problems. But when the judge dropped a decision no one saw coming, it obliterated her entire strategy. The ruling wasn't just a setback. It was a full-blown embarrassment. It didn't just poke holes in her case. It exposed just how shaky the foundation of her accusations really was. And the timing? Absolutely brutal.
Movement out there right now trying to make all of us who believe in Justin Baldoni, making us feel terrible, that we are women haters and anti-feminist and politicizing all of this in a sense that is just ridiculous. I feel like what Blake Lively has done has been the worst thing ever happening to the Me Too movement, because she coming forward like this and accusing a man of something that he obviously hasn't done, because we haven't seen any evidence yet. Another thing is, why haven't we seen any text messages from Blake Lively to someone else talking about how she felt traumatized in the moment? Where are those text messages? Why weren't they in the New York Times?
The media had been waiting for a moment like this, circling like sharks, and the second this ruling hit, it was open season. Overnight, the conversation flipped. No more poor Blake. Now it was, what is she really hiding? Social media went wild. If some tried to defend her, they were drowned out by the tidal wave of brutal responses. This wasn't just another courtroom loss. It was an all-out public takedown. And Blake? The woman who built an empire on a flawless image of control and perfection? She's crumbling, and she cannot handle it. The meltdown was instant. Sources who've been tracking her every move since this lawsuit started say Blake Lively completely lost it. Frantic, desperate, unraveling faster than anyone thought possible. That cool, composed image she spent years crafting, gone! And she wasn't just frustrated, she was furious. Her PR team was in full-blown panic mode, scrambling to patch the cracks. But no amount of spin could undo the damage. Hollywood wasn't buying the act anymore. And here's the kicker. This wasn't just about the lawsuit anymore. The backlash had been simmering for a while, but after the judge's decision, it detonated. This wasn't just a legal slap, it was a reckoning. For years, she basked in the glow of being Hollywood's golden girl, the effortlessly charming, elegant actress who always seemed to be in control. But now people were seeing the truth. The whispers had turned into full-blown accusations. Blake wasn't just a victim of bad press. She was a master manipulator, someone who had spent years pulling strings behind the scenes to keep her power intact. And the numbers don't lie. The second this ruling hit, her carefully curated empire started to crumble. Fans who once worshipped her, jumping ship in droves. In just a few months, her follower count has plummeted at a speed no one saw coming. Blake Lively's grip on the industry is slipping, and there's nothing she can do to stop it. This isn't just a minor setback, it's a full-blown exodus. We're talking record-breaking unfollows. Hundreds of thousands of people are jumping ship, and with every new update on this lawsuit, that number just keeps climbing. At first, some tried to spin it, calling it a temporary dip, just a rough patch. But let's be real, the damage is done. Blake Lively isn't just losing followers, she's losing Hollywood. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, he's getting the exact opposite reaction. While Blake's support vanishes by the minute, Baldoni's numbers are soaring. People who once ignored his side are now paying attention. They're looking at the evidence again, and suddenly, his version of events isn't so easy to dismiss. Maybe, just maybe, he was telling the truth all along. And the numbers? They don't lie. The contrast is brutal. This isn't just a PR headache for Lively, it's a nightmare. One that no staged appearance or carefully worded statement can erase.
I saw someone make a really good point about Blake Lively, and I think a few people have said this, and I completely agree. Blake Lively hasn't yet realized that people don't really like celebrities anymore. And so you have to be exceptional, like exceptionally likable for people to like you as a celebrity. People tolerate celebrities, will watch movies, will listen to music, but unless you're extremely likable, we don't want to hear from you this much. And I think Blake is still stuck in the era of kind of around like Gossip Girl and like just coming out of Gossip Girl where A-list celebrities were the bee's knees and everyone was, you know, aware of what celebrities were doing. We were so interested, we were shipping celebrities. And now we have influencers and content creators that feel more related to us and like we're closer in status, if that makes sense, because a lot of them just started out as regular people. And so we don't really care about the lives of celebrities anymore. We don't want to hear what is your comfort blanket and like how you got yourself into this role of a woman that was DV'd and how your rings are your comfort. Like no one cares actually. And so when you go out of your way to be unlikable and treat people like shit, and you make everything about yourself and you lie about your co-stars, or you exaggerate, or you don't take the topic of the movie seriously and instead you make it all about yourself and your hair care line and this, you don't realize how unlikable you come across when people already are in an era of not caring about celebrities. And I think that's something that Blake Lively should like just miss the memo on that, because her and Ryan Reynolds were like the it couple for so long that she still thinks that we all care, but we don't.
But here's where it gets even worse. This isn't just an online fallout. Hollywood itself is backing away. Fast. The directors, producers, and executives who once saw her as a golden ticket are now treating her like a liability. And let's be honest, Hollywood isn't about morals. It doesn't care about who's right or wrong. What it cares about is money, power, and public perception. And right now, Blake Lively is officially BAD for business. Industry insiders are talking, and it's not looking good for Blake Lively. The hesitation to work with her is growing by the day. No one wants to be the one to take a chance on an actress whose public image is crashing and burning. And let's be real, who wants to be linked to someone making more headlines for scandals than for actual work? But it's bigger than just bad press. Hollywood is tired of dealing with her infamous reputation for being a control freak. Because this lawsuit? It's just the tipping point. The real problem is a pattern of behavior that has been quietly swept under the rug for years. Until now. The whispers have been there all along. The way she takes over projects, overrides directors, forces script changes, ensures every spotlight is on her. The way she manipulates situations behind the scenes to always have the upper hand. The way she crafts narratives so everything plays out in her favor. And up until now, she got away with it. But this lawsuit? It cracked the entire illusion wide open. Now no one can unsee the reality. This isn't just a legal battle anymore. It's a reckoning. Blake isn't just fighting in court. She's fighting for her career, her reputation, and whatever is left of the polished image she spent years building. And at the rate things are going, she's losing on every front. If Blake Lively thought hiring a former CIA PR specialist would save her,
we are seeing the downfall of Blake Lively before our very eyes.
So this week, Blake Lively and her companies are under a lot of controversy because she decided to exploit domestic violence victims to promote her brands. And now the whole internet is doing a lot of deep dives to expose her past. And I want to talk about it today because I'm not sure why we're shocked that the woman who had a plantation wedding has had repeated rumored drama on all the sets she works on. gave Harvey Weinstein a pretty glowing review during his downfall. And much more we'll cover is surprisingly not that great of a person. Like, come on, Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds have always given like high school quarterback and head cheerleader who peaked in high school that were always like passive aggressively mean to you, but like had this nice branding person, like, oh, she's so nice, but she's not. Like, she'll just turn a corner and be so rude behind closed doors. And just like those two kids from your high school that eventually got married, never moved out, and never had to develop as people, they are so out of touch and they just don't care. There's a reason that a lot of times the characters she plays are just pretty rich, out of touch, socialite blonde women. It's because she also is not that great at, like, that's just who she is. She even admitted in an interview I found that she, like, can't form to roles. She has to form roles around her. Like, Miss Girl, that is not acting. That's just being yourself repeatedly. But for starters, yes, there's always been a lot of drama on sets that revolve around her throughout the years, starting with her co-star in Gossip Girl, Leighton Meester, who everyone always said that Leighton Meester was, like, the nicest person you've ever met. It's very much so noted that these two, despite playing best friends on TV and spending so many of their formative years,
She was dead wrong. If she thought strutting into film festivals, acting like nothing was happening, would fix her image, wrong again. And if she thought Hollywood would keep protecting her despite the chaos, absolutely not. This judge's ruling didn't just hurt her case, it sealed the fate of a career already on life support. Now, the real question is, how much worse can this get? Because at this rate, we might be witnessing one of the most jaw-dropping downfalls Hollywood has seen in years. And no amount of forced smiles or red carpet distractions can change that. And then, just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, they did. Yeah, we're talking about March 9th, 2025, South by Southwest. The moment Blake Lively stepped onto that red carpet, she did it with the confidence of someone who either didn't realize or refused to accept the storm brewing around her. With her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni turning into a public catastrophe, her reputation spiraling out of control, and her credibility getting shredded by the media, most people assumed she'd do the smart thing, lay low, maybe even skip the event altogether. But no, she showed up, and that decision, it only made things worse. But Blake? She had other plans. Instead of retreating, she marched straight into the spotlight, hell-bent on proving she was still in control. This wasn't just a public appearance, it was a statement. But instead of regaining power, she lost it completely. The second she stepped onto that red carpet, the energy shifted. Normally, these events are filled with excitement, flashing lights, and Hollywood magic. But this felt different. The air was thick with tension. The cameras were rolling, but the usual buzz? Gone. Every reporter, every fan, every industry insider watching knew this wasn't just another movie premiere. This was Blake Lively fighting for her image. She posed for photos, flashed a smile, even made an effort to interact with fans. But something was off. That effortless charm? It felt forced. Mechanical, like she was running through the motions, desperately hoping no one noticed the cracks in her once flawless facade. But they did. And then, the moment that turned the night into an absolute spectacle. As Blake moved past the flashing cameras, keeping up the illusion, it happened. A protester broke through the polished red carpet chaos, shattering the illusion in one explosive second, holding up a sign for the world to see. Justice for Justin Baldoni, Blake lied. The gasps, the whispers, the cameras snapping to capture every second. In that instant, her entire act collapsed. The message was impossible to ignore. The protester, later identified as YouTuber and social commentator Colonel Kurtz, stood just off to the side, making it clear that not everyone in attendance was there to celebrate. What should have been a glamorous event was now tainted by the presence of someone directly challenging Blake Lively in front of the entire industry. A protest at such a high-profile event would have been humiliating enough on its own. But the way Blake handled it only made things worse. Instead of brushing it off or addressing it with grace, she looked visibly shaken. It was just for a split second, but that moment was all it took. The mask slipped, the cameras caught it, and soon enough, The footage was everywhere. Analyzed, dissected, and played on repeat across social media and entertainment news. The media wasted no time jumping on the spectacle. Every major outlet, from TMZ to Variety to the Daily Mail, had reporters at the event, each one scrutinizing Blake's every move, her body language, her forced smiles, and her interactions, or lack thereof. The headlines practically wrote themselves. Blake Lively tries to save face amid legal scandal. Protester calls her out. Hollywood's darling no more. Lively faces. Red carpet backlash. Tension at SXSW. Blake Lively can't escape the controversy. The scrutiny was relentless, and the night quickly spiraled into a PR nightmare that no amount of strategic planning could contain. Then came the cast interaction, or more accurately, the lack of one. Blake's A Simple Favor co-star, Anna Kendrick, was also present at the event, and if anyone expected them to put on a united front, they were sorely mistaken. Kendrick kept her distance, carefully avoiding any direct interaction. The tension was impossible to ignore, and in an industry where every move is calculated, her silence spoke volumes. If anything, Anna Kendrick seemed determined to put as much space between herself and Blake Lively as possible. The tension wasn't just noticeable, it was impossible to ignore. When asked about working with Blake again, Kendrick's response was short, clipped, and completely devoid of warmth. "Oh, you know," she said, before quickly shifting gears and moving on. It was the kind of answer people give when they don't want to lie, but they also don't want to tell the truth. And the moment she said it, everyone picked up on what was really happening. The internet wasted no time dissecting it. Comments flooded in, with people pointing out how Kendrick's response sounded like something you'd say about an ex you're forced to work with.
Like, what does it mean to be back with Anna?
Oh, it's the best. I'm so happy. This way.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
We're talking about you all day.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like, so now the other thing I want to ask you, how do you feel like how does it feel like the movie's being impacted kind of by everything happening around going on in the world?
Why, what happened? I did ayahuasca and the last year of my life is just gone, but I've heard the movie's amazing.
Wait, thank you.
One TikTok user summed it up perfectly. Girl couldn't fake it. Another added, "Oh, you know," is the new "I'd rather not say." The clip spread like wildfire, racking up millions of views within hours as people analyzed every second of the exchange. If Kendrick's words weren't enough to signal trouble, her body language throughout the night made it painfully clear that things between her and Lively were far from friendly. She kept just slightly too much distance, never lingering near Blake for long. During group photos, she made a point to stand closer to Henry Golding instead. And when Blake spoke during interviews, Kendrick's face remained unreadable. No smiles, no forced enthusiasm, just a blank expression that said everything without saying a word. This wasn't the first time rumors of tension between Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick had surfaced.
Here's what nobody's saying about Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick tonight. So if you've seen the videos, Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick are out promoting their new movie, Another Simple Favor. And Anna Kendrick is asked, "Anna, what is it like working with Blake Lively again?" And her answer is, "Oh, you know," as she's moving on and signing autographs, whatever. Everyone has pounced on this because, of course, it makes it seem like she's not enjoying her time working with Blake Lively. And then there's another interview where Anna Kendrick is asked, "How does it feel after this last year working with Blake Lively?" And she pretends like she doesn't know what's gone on for the last year. Could we just consider the fact that Anna Kendrick is an actor who takes herself seriously, who enjoys working? This is her job, and now she knows, and she probably was not planning for this, but now she knows that her entire movie, her entire press experience, everything is about to be wrapped up and revolved around what's going on with Blake Lively. It's possible she loves Blake Lively. It's possible they get along great. It's also possible they don't, but I bet more than anything, as a working adult, she feels like, why is this my problem? Why is my movie now centered around this?
Blake Lively, after her biggest success, was just met with a lot of controversy, but now to make things worse, it's come out she feuded with Anna Kendrick. Blake Lively had one of the biggest hits of 2024 with It Ends With Us, which made $346 million on a budget of $25 million. The issue was Blake Lively didn't get along with her co-star, who's also the director of the movie, Justin Baldoni, and the two refused to do any press together. Blake Lively said that Baldoni didn't listen to any of her ideas and also got offended because he asked her wait. The only reason he asked her wait was because he has back issues and there was a scene he had to pick her up, and many who worked on set found Blake Lively was being annoying with the ideas. Now it's reported Blake Lively had another issue making the 2018 movie A Simple Favor, which was a success, making $98 million on a budget of $25 million, but she didn't get along with Anna Kendrick. It was reported they were both pretty immature, where Anna Kendrick demanded to show her cleavage in the poster to distract people from Blake Lively. And the two didn't have a good relationship on set, which is why they didn't do many interviews marketing the movie together. Now, strangely enough, after years of saying they wouldn't do a sequel together, they just announced they will be making a sequel to Simple Favor. Many are accusing Blake Lively of doing just to escape the Justin Baldoni complaints. Hey, it got fans a sequel, and with that, I'm Charles Peralta. Please subscribe to learn something.
But it was the first time people could see it for themselves. Whispers of a long-standing feud had been circulating for years. But now, with the lawsuit looming over everything and the media watching their every move, those rumors had taken on a whole new life. Kendrick's clipped response was classic Anna, dry, evasive, and impossible to ignore. But things really escalated when Variety slipped in the inevitable question. Had the ongoing drama surrounding Blake affected the movie's release? It was the kind of question everyone knew was coming. Any seasoned actor would have had a carefully crafted response ready to go. But Kendrick? She dodged it entirely. Her refusal to engage spoke louder than words, making it crystal clear that she wanted no part of the chaos surrounding Blake. Fans noticed immediately, taking it as confirmation that Kendrick was keeping things strictly professional. Nothing more, nothing less. Even Henry Golding, who had been the picture of professionalism throughout the press tour, couldn't fully mask the awkwardness of the situation. When asked about reuniting with Blake and Anna, he started off with the usual PR-approved answer. It's the best. But then, almost as an afterthought, he added, "What could go wrong?" The slight pause, the nervous laugh. It was enough to send social media into another frenzy. It was obvious that no one, not even the most media-trained actors, could fully ignore the tension. And that tension wasn't just impacting the press tour, it was affecting the entire reception of the movie. A sequel to a hit film like A Simple Favor should have been a huge deal. Fans should have been buzzing with excitement, eager to see the original cast return. But instead of the usual hype, the only thing anyone could talk about was the off-screen drama between Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. No one was discussing the plot. No one was talking about the characters or what to expect from the sequel. Every interview, every headline, every viral clip was fixated on them. The tension, the body language, the awkward exchanges. And that's exactly why Amazon Studios is reportedly worried about the film's box office performance. According to The Hollywood Reporter, studio executives have been keeping a very close eye on how the media storm surrounding Blake is impacting the movie's promotion. And so far, it's not looking good. Instead of generating excitement, the controversy is overshadowing everything. Instead of drawing audiences in, it's making them question if they even want to support the film at all. What should have been a triumphant return for Blake Lively is turning into another PR disaster, yet another sign of how fast things are unraveling around her. At this point, the real question isn't whether her career will survive this lawsuit. It's whether A Simple Favor 2 will survive the Blake Lively backlash. Because if South by Southwest was any indication, the public has already made up its mind. And for the first time in her career, Blake isn't the one controlling the narrative. Now, one thing is crystal clear. This escalating battle isn't just a legal dispute anymore. It's a full-blown spectacle that threatens not only the careers of both Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, but also exposes the deeper complexities of handling misconduct allegations in Hollywood. As the lawsuit intensifies, both sides have taken dramatically different approaches in shaping public perception. Blake Lively has fought aggressively to control the narrative, using a proactive legal strategy while her PR team works overtime to shield her image. A key part of that strategy? Her legal teams pushed for strict confidentiality measures, blocking sensitive details from going public under the guise of protecting privacy and preventing reputational damage. But in reality, this move speaks to something deeper, a desperate attempt to contain the fallout before it spirals further out of control. On the other side, Baldoni has taken an entirely different approach. Instead of hiding behind legal barriers, he has gone public. Launching a website called the Lawsuit Info, he laid out a detailed timeline of events, offering his side of the story in a way that directly counters the media firestorm. This calculated move isn't just about damage control, it's about taking back control, presenting his perspective on his own terms, and positioning himself as the transparent one in a battle where perception is everything. Regardless of whose strategy proves more effective, the consequences are unavoidable. This legal war has already cast a long shadow over both of their careers, with serious long-term fallout still looming. For Lively, the relentless media scrutiny has already begun chipping away at her marketability and future casting prospects. No matter how this plays out, one thing is certain. Her involvement in this lawsuit will forever shape how the industry and the public view her. Whether she emerges as a wronged party seeking justice or as an industry powerhouse caught in a brutal legal standoff, the damage has already been done. And in Hollywood, image is everything. At this point, one thing is undeniably clear. This escalating battle isn't just about the lawsuit anymore. It's a high-stakes showdown that threatens both Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's careers while exposing the deeper challenges of navigating misconduct allegations in Hollywood. As the legal war rages on, both sides have taken vastly different public relations approaches in an effort to sway public opinion and salvage their reputations. Blake Lively has doubled down on a proactive legal strategy, making calculated moves to maintain control over the narrative. Her legal team has aggressively pushed for strict confidentiality measures, blocking sensitive case details from reaching the public. They've cited concerns over privacy and reputational harm, but let's be honest, this isn't just about protecting personal information. It's about containing the damage before it spirals even further. Meanwhile, Baldoni has taken an entirely different route, going public. Instead of hiding behind legal barriers, he launched a website, the Lawsuit Info, outlining his version of events and providing a detailed timeline of the dispute. This wasn't just about setting the record straight. It was a strategic move to counteract negative press and control the narrative on his own terms. By putting his side out there, Baldoni positioned himself as the transparent party in a battle where perception is everything. Regardless of which strategy proves more effective, the impact is undeniable. This legal firestorm has already cast a long, dark shadow over both of their careers, with serious long-term consequences looming. For Lively, the lawsuit and the relentless media scrutiny surrounding it have already begun to affect her marketability and future casting opportunities. How she emerges from this fight, whether as a wronged party seeking justice or a high-profile star caught in a brutal legal war, will directly shape her industry standing. One thing is certain. In Hollywood, image is everything. And right now, Lively is struggling to hold on to hers. Justin Baldoni has already faced major fallout from this controversy. His talent agency, WME, dropped him on December 21, 2020, shortly after Lively's initial complaint. Adding to the blow, Vital Voices rescinded his Voices of Solidarity award, a move that signaled just how damaging these allegations had become. These decisions weren't just symbolic. They hinted at a potential blacklisting in the industry as former collaborators began distancing themselves to avoid getting caught in the storm. But this legal battle isn't just about two Hollywood stars. It's exposing the entertainment industry's messy, complicated way of handling misconduct allegations. It highlights the challenges of navigating accusations, the power of PR in shaping public perception, and the career-shattering consequences for those involved. It's a delicate, high-stakes balancing act between seeking justice and ensuring due process, all under the relentless microscope of Hollywood. This drama has been unfolding for months, and with neither side showing any signs of backing down, the twists and turns are far from over. So, if you want to stay ahead of every shocking revelation, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next.